Hey everybody! When I first started my channel, I would say, hey sleepy friends. And then people pointed out to me that it's not just people with narcolepsy that watch my videos. So I started saying, hey chronic illness warriors. And then some people pointed out to me, thank you Elizabeth and Lisa, that my content's beneficial even if there's nothing medically wrong with you. So hey everybody! I shot 22 minutes of this yesterday and realized I left my last 2 pages of notes on the printer, so this is take 2. So who is this video for? Let's get right to it. This video is for people who cannot meditate, people who have seemingly uncontrollable thoughts. You think you have no control over your brain. You get brain fog regularly. You are not where you want to be emotionally, or you just want to have a little peace and quiet upstairs. Anyone who fits into any of those categories might benefit from this video. If you want to say which one you are, feel free to comment and let me know. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel is growing, and it would be great if you could just take a minute and subscribe and help my message of coping get out to more people who need it. This isn't the kind of stuff that's taught in schools. It's not the kind of stuff that's talked about at cocktail parties. It's a deep dive into getting right in your head, which leads to going beyond coping. So today I'll be talking about why it's so important to have a clear mind. So welcome to Going Beyond Coping. My name is Dawn Super, and I help people cope with chronic illness and pain. The things I'm going to cover today are why you want a clear mind, what is on your mind, when is it on your mind, and how do you stop it. So just a quick caveat here. I'm not a doctor or a mental health professional. I've had chronic illness since I was a child, so going on 38 years now, and I had a really rough go of it for a very long time. And around 40, things started to change for me, and I started to learn some things about outside the bottle, about life, that made coping with my chronic illnesses, I have 9 diagnosed disorders, it made it a lot easier to cope with them. So I started sharing my things, and other people were interested, and so I turned it into mass information for coping with chronic illness and pain. But again, as I mentioned earlier, this stuff isn't really discussed. So if you don't have chronic illness, you still might need help learning how to clear your mind without meditating. You might not be able to have the space, the quiet to meditate. You might not have the ability to meditate. It might be too challenging for you, and you feel icky trying to do it. So there are things that you can do that will clear your mind to a degree, and you don't have to meditate to do them. So that's what I'm talking about today. This is a starter lesson. You're not going to watch this quick little video and suddenly at the end have a clear mind. It'll give you some ideas of where you can start. I've been on this journey for a long time, and it took me a couple years of actively working on getting control of my head. And I finally did it, so that's why I'm sharing the videos. You get more you for you. So why do you want a clear mind? I never thought it mattered, to be honest with you. When I tried to meditate, I would just fall asleep. It didn't work for me. Narcolepsy, yeah. So all these years later, now that I have a clear mind, I'm able to look back and see the huge benefit in coping that I got from being able to do that. And outside of happy matters that I talk about all the time, clearing your mind is probably right number 2 coping tool in my experience. All these videos are about my experience, and I'm just sharing to give you some ideas. You can put it through the you filter and have it apply to you in whatever way is beneficial for you. So every person on the planet can benefit from having a clear mind, and For normal, I call them normies, people with nothing wrong with them, monkey mind and uncontrollable thoughts release cortisol into the body. So if you don't have anything medically wrong with you and you have a cortisol release, you might notice that you get more tired. You might notice that you get a stomach ache or tension headache. If you're overthinking and having monkey mind, it can interfere with you getting a good night's sleep and increase your appetite for things that are not good for you, comfort foods. Just head right to them. Your thoughts make you feel icky, and then you head to the ice cream. You see it in all the movies everywhere. So if you don't have anything wrong with you, that's a reason why you should always try and get on top of your monkey mind. If you've got a chronic illness, it's really a double whammy, because when you experience a stress response and a cortisol release, it shuts your immune system off. Like I did a video last week about worry, and I talked about how Joe Dispenza says when you get a cortisol release, it's like when they're trying to transplant an organ in a body. It shuts off the don't reject this because we might need to fight or flight or whatever. We need the strength and energy. Let's focus everything on that. And then when that wears off, you're like burnt out, stomach ache, all kinds of things can be happening for you. And it takes a good half hour for the response to relax. So if 15 minutes after you freaked out about something, you're freaking out about something else, you're just delaying getting to the place where your body can be like, hey, let's get some immune protection in here and deal with what's going on with the chronic illness. That's why your moods, anxiety, those kind of things can make your symptoms worse. You can go into a fibro flare. You can have a TMJ flare. You can have more dry mouth from Sjogren's. You can have drier eyes from having constant cortisol flooding, where your immune system is not saying, you know, we need to do something to protect these eyeballs, as evidenced by my eyes lately have been bad. So if you've got narcolepsy or hypersomnia, insomnia, apnea, you get it even worse because sleep deprivation opens you up to more emotional effects. So your thoughts and the cortisol release generate these emotions for you that are harder to process when you're sleep deprived, and it can lead to more symptoms. Cataplexy is part of narcolepsy type 1, and emotional responses trigger cataplexy, which is a sudden loss of muscle tone. Essentially, the brain is putting parts or all of the body to sleep in response to a particular emotional stimulus. So, like as an example, my cataplexy trigger, one of them is inappropriate humor. So if I crack a joke that's inappropriate and someone else laughs, my knee buckles. And that's my emotional response. But if I get into a confrontation with someone, I don't have a cataplexy, but boy, do I still feel it. You know, whether it's a POTS response from my autonomic nervous system dysfunctioning, or if it's result of trauma from whatever, I notice that in myself. When I deal with a situation that makes me feel uncomfortable, I get headaches, I get stomach aches, I get more tired. So if that happens to you, connect the dots. What is it that's making it worse? And then you can confront those feelings within inside yourself. Are you feeling insecure? Are you feeling inadequate? Are you feeling not confident? Those things can help your thoughts to tank your body. So getting right in your head, it's really important for coping. A big part of the reason why I say happy matters in almost every single thing I post on the internet is because I need the reminder. There are so many things that come in your face that take you away from happy, that if you're not actively looking for things that generate happiness inside of you, you can easily miss them. They're there. They're just waiting for you to notice them. And even though you have a lot of things to be sad about and a lot of things to complain about, if you choose not to, it changes things. It changes the way you cope with your symptoms. I have a video on my channel, You Have Every Reason to Complain. It's on the Facebook Positively Narcolepsy page, and it's on my YouTube channel, Going Beyond Coping. Oh, a little exciting thing for me, I was finally able to get a custom URL. So my YouTube channel is now youtube.com/C for channel /Going Beyond Coping. And I'm very excited to not have a 17-character URL to go to anymore. Just wanted to share that. And I owe that all to those of you who are watching my videos and liking and commenting and helping me get up. I just passed 350 subscribers, and I'm super grateful for y'all helping me share this message. Okay, so you don't know what clearing your mind will do for you until you do it. And that's my message to you today. I never thought clearing my mind would give me so much more coping than it has. It's exponential, the coping that comes from getting control of the real estate between your ears and not feeling bad about yourself. It's such a big deal, I could almost get weepy talking about it. I would not be as far as I am right now had I not nixed those toxic thoughts that used to consume my brain all the time. So, we talked about why. So, I want to talk about what is on your mind, because this is a really important part of getting control on your mind, is noticing what it is that's in your mind. So I did an hour-long video in 2018. It's called Killing the Monkey in Your Mind. And you can find it on the channel very easily, or you can go to my blog, goingbeyondcoping.com, and then search the word monkey, and it'll come up. There's the link to the YouTube video is there, and download a PDF, because it was too long for a blog post. There's a PDF, you can download the text version of that. If getting on top of your mind is something that is your goal for 2021, that's a great place to start, to give you some ideas on how to jumpstart your own. I'm going to talk, briefly on this. So more in depth is in that 2018 piece. So mindfulness. Mindfulness is a woo-woo word. Some people can be totally turned off just by the word mindfulness because they think that they're trying to be sold a bill of goods or whatever. But really, mindfulness is just what's on your mind. What is your mind full of? That's it. That's what it means. It's not woo-woo. It's not, anything out there. It's what's on your mind. And this is another one. You can think whatever you want. It's a double-edged sword because you can entertain any thought inside of your brain. And the important thing is that you realize that you don't have to. You don't have an obligation to entertain every thought inside your brain. As an example, you went to a movie last year and you're talking to someone about the movie. And outside of the movie, you had the tickets were expensive and you had a hard time finding a babysitter and there were big crowds and you spilled your popcorn and, all those other things. You start thinking about them while you're talking to someone about this great experience of the movie. The movie was great. The things that happened at the movie weren't great. So by the time you're done with your story, you can find yourself in a bad mood and you never even left your head. We create so much anxiety for ourselves with our thoughts. And until you stop the ones that are doing it, until you identify which ones are doing it, and you do something about them, you just can't know how much coping you'll get. It's quite a bit, really. So what you think about, you bring about. It's not literal. It's not a woo-woo thing. I incorporate a lot of woo-woo words into my videos because I think it's important to be able to separate out the woo-woo-ness so that when you see them, they don't like turn you off, because they can crack open your mind a little bit. So what you think about, if you're sad, think about being sad, you get sad. Think about being happy, you get happy. We're not talking about manifesting chocolate chip cookies, winning the lottery, or landing on the moon. We're talking about having thoughts that are good leave you feeling good, and having thoughts that are bad leave you feeling bad. What you think about, you bring about in terms of your thoughts and emotions. So, like thinking about cars. Like if you're a car person, thinking about a car can make you feel good. But thinking about crashing a car, not so much. So same object, different aspects of it. If you are worried about crashing your car, then that generates feelings of anxiety for you. And setting matters. Laying in your bed thinking about crashing your car is not going to generate as much anxiety for you as if you're driving. So it really makes a difference what you're thinking about and when. I listen to videos on Sadhguru. He's a Indian mystic. He says, stop writing horror movies that you're not getting paid to produce. And as a writer, that was really beneficial for me because I make up a lot of stories in my head for my writing, my fiction writing, and it's okay to have thoughts that are not good as long as they're for the right reason. You know, if you're writing fiction, great. If you're thinking about how you did at work today, not so great. That matters. Jumping over here a little bit too. Okay, so humans have about 6,000 thoughts a day. That's a lot of thoughts. And that's not even being an overthinker. That's just an average individual having 6,000 thoughts a day. So add into it some overthinking. If you're the kind of person who has 2,857 tabs open at the same time and can't figure out which one of them is beeping, that's an issue. However, I am one of those kind of people. I do hyper multitask, increasing my need for processing for physical things increases my coping. So when I'm doing something like spreadsheets or studying something, I can only do one thing at a time. But if I'm in the kitchen, I'm cooking, I'm cleaning, I'm making lists, I'm active that way mentally. And your thoughts are no different. When you're thinking about one thing and you're solving the problem, that's great. When you're having 5 tabs open and they're all progressive, they're all things that you're working on, an appointment you got to go to later, or something that you have to finish up at work, or what you're going to make for dinner. All those things are great. Fill your head with as much of that as you can. What you have to stop doing is leaving the tab open that says, you're never going to finish all of this. You're never going to get this all done. You are tired. You're lazy. You're inadequate. You can't do this. Those are the thoughts that mess up your tabs. So if you just go through and close all the negative about you thoughts that you're having, sorry, it gives you the head space to focus on the 5 tabs that are open and be more productive and happier and feel better about what you want to accomplish. Bad thoughts slow you down. And if you have chronic illness, you don't have the time to be slowed down. Okay. Mindless things leave you more susceptible to monkey mind. If you're doing the dishes, if you're driving your car, automatic behavior tends to kick in, and you can have the dishes done before you even realize that you finished them, or end up at your office and you don't even remember how you got there. not in an amnesia sort of way, just in a, you followed all the rules, your brain and your body know what to do, but you kind of checked out a little bit. And that's good, but you need to be mindful of what's banging around in your brain while that's happening. Thoughts come in response to solitary stimulus, something you're watching, reading, listening to. And you have thoughts in response to other people. In each instance, the thoughts can change the way things go in that moment and for the time period after. So if you want more you for you, it's important that you find a good place to start snipping off the thoughts. Mindfulness is noticing what's on your mind. So, do you notice, is there a particular time of day where you get more monkey mind than usual? Do you have more consuming negative thoughts when you're showering? If you do, play some music in the bathroom. Sing along with the songs, because you can't think about how bad things are going or how bad you feel or any of those other things if you're singing along to one of your favorite songs. And I recommend you don't make it screamo or anything that's got negative lyrics, because the idea is to use the repetition of the words to raise up your emotional level. So, how do you stop it? That's a question, right? Like, a lot of people think they must meditate in order to overcome monkey mind, overthinking, or having negative thoughts. And that's a fallacy, because I did it without meditating, and I know it's possible because I did it. So the biggest step in stopping was giving myself permission to not think about those thoughts. On one hand, I had an obligation, which I talk about in that monkey video. I had an obligation to my bills, to my appointments, to the obligations, the responsibilities that I have in my life. And I didn't want to forget anything important. So I did a lot of calendaring, marking everything on the calendar. I did a lot of setting appointments in my phone, alarms, in my phone, labeling them really well. It's time to leave for this. Don't forget to do that. And I would snooze them until I completed the task or changed the time until later. And it was a couple of months, if not a year in, to actively trying to work on having a clear mind that I realized I didn't need to do that anymore, that the 10th of the month became very obvious to me, and in the few days leading up to the 10th of the month, I was preparing to pay all my bills, because that's my bill day. And where I would forget, it would be the 12th, and I would be like, oh my God, then that stopped happening because I didn't have all that noisy chatter in my head. Another thought was that I felt responsible to my thoughts. I felt like if I had a problem, I was obligated to think about it. And I talk about this in my worry video, if you want to go back and watch that one, that thinking about something you can't actively change is a fool's errand. If someone did something to you, it's over. There's nothing you can do about it. Constantly mulling that over in your head is not a good idea, and you are not obligated to do that in any way, shape, or form. Any previous incident, relationship, anything having to do with your past, put it out of your head. I'm not saying shove it down. Don't say that at all. I had a traumatic life. I really did. It was really yucky. Until I was in my 40s, I had so many things bad in my life that even just talking about my everyday life turned people off. So all I did was just stop allowing the thoughts to come into my head. I'm not 8 anymore. I'm not 26 anymore. I'm not 35 anymore. I am who I am now. And if there's a lesson to be brought forward from the past, great. But the situation's over and done with, and I personally choose not to entertain those thoughts anymore. Okay. What you think about what other people are thinking about is irrelevant. Don't stew in your own juice, worrying about what someone else is thinking. I realize I just covered this whole page without looking at my notes. That's good. I just want to see if I make sure I didn't miss anything. Okay. Accepting wounds will help you release them from your thoughts. I was disowned by my daughter, and it's been many years now, and it's incredibly painful. And it's a wound that won't heal because it's just my reality. It is the way it is. So when I think about her, I just, send out the good vibes for her, and I do the little, there, dear for myself, and then I head into something else. I move into a new direction that doesn't involve thinking about that, because it doesn't serve me to think about it. It's not going to bring me any solutions, resolutions, nothing. I just need to accept and continue. When I think about things that make me angry is a tricky one for narcolepsy, because fight, flight, and sleep, wake are all located in the same damaged center of my brain, along with your body temp controls are there too. So issues with anger and narcolepsy are, let's shake hands on that one. It's important to understand, if you do have narcolepsy, that your anger can be irrational, that it can be just triggered by your body to try and help you keep going. So the sooner you notice you're angry, and the sooner you can just stop talking about it or thinking about it. Say to yourself, all right, this really made me mad, but I need to sit down in a minute until I wake up a little bit more or calm down a little bit more, and then I'll be able to think about it more rationally. I have a video on the channel called Tips for Arguing with Narcolepsy. And if anger and arguing make you sleepy or achy or things like that, whether or not you have narcolepsy, it's a great video to watch. I do have that also on my blog, the Going Beyond Coping blog. So if you just type in 5 rules, that post will come up and you can read or watch the linked YouTube video. That will, it talks about ways to interrupt your anger and how to deal with other people and the fact that you're angry. I was very ragey for most of my life, flash in the pan angry. And I still get angry. I do. I can't control it. It comes upon me and it's really strong. But I've been able to have the presence of mind to understand that it's excessive and understand that it's not my choice. I wouldn't choose to be that angry ever. So I need to just be nice to myself until the response calms down a little bit, and keep my mouth shut so that I don't spew my angry all over everybody else. Okay. I still fall asleep meditating. That's why I typically meditate while I'm laying down before I take a nap. Don't be afraid to break some rules to, get your mind where you need it to be. I still think about a lot of stuff. In fact, when I'm going to sleep at night, I have the best ideas for blog posts. It's crazy how great the ideas are. And depending on if I really need to go to sleep, I might wake myself up and write it in my notepad on my phone. And if I can't do that, if I'm too tired, if I'm afraid that writing the note will wake me up too much and it'll interfere with my night's sleep, I just say to myself, you know what? You are not going to remember this tomorrow, so just let it go. It's a great idea. If it's meant to be, it'll come around again, but just let it go. And I do that with, you know, all the thoughts that I can't do anything about. Oh. All right. So I have over 70 videos now on my channel. The playlist on the main page takes you Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and it covers different topics: motivation, gratitude, changing things. I can't remember what they all are right now, but yeah, you can hit the playlist and just listen through each day of the week to get a good theme on whatever it is that I'm talking about. And there are some really specific ones. The What Happens If I Don't series of videos is really great because it takes on things like what happens if I don't accept the judgment of others, and what happens if I don't place blame, what happens if I don't freak out, what happens if I don't stay in bed. These are all experiments that I ran on myself to see if they help me find more coping or not. And they did, obviously, because I spent the time to make a video and write about it. So I've spent the last 2 years getting right in my head, and doing that brings more good ideas. I'm not bogged down by thinking about how sad my life used to be, or how much trouble I have with a particular person in my life, or the fact that I am lacking in something or another. I don't. And it really gave me the headspace to have more good ideas. So in terms of clearing your mind, this is what I got out of it here. More ability to be there for others, more ability to not take on the emotions, opinions, and judgment of others, more self-confidence, more peace and calm. Total win-win, 5 for 5 would recommend. I didn't have any special training in this. I didn't watch someone's webinar and figure it all out. I didn't read a book and the solutions came to me. This was me actively every day asking myself, what is in my head? When is it in my head? How do I stop it? And being tenacious and just insisting that my brain have a nice big glass of shut the heck up. If you made it this far, thank you. I appreciate you. If you want more tips and tricks on quieting your mind, comment below and I'll do a follow-up video. Or if you have something else that you'd like to hear me take on, if you have a situation in your life that you want me to, you want to hear what I had to say about it, you can comment that, or you can message me on Facebook, on Messenger, or send me an email, superdawn@goingbeyondcoping.com. Thanks so much. Make it a great day, warriors. The choice is always yours.